We have a very exciting session now with voices or our voices of impact. And we've got Dianna Jacobsen, accountant, business and financial strategist. You are the winner of the Women in Finance Excellence Award, or a finalist in that one, Dianna. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
I'm asking you to share. Shine at Business is your business. Give us some insights in how you look at that, what it is you help us to shine at in our business.
Absolutely. So, the first and most important piece of equipment anybody needs is their magic wand.
Oh, I like
Because
it.
if we don't know what we're trying to create, then we're just kind of all over the shop. We're just being busy, being busy. And we are taught and socialized that more and more action is needed, and more hard work, and more diligence and tenacity and persistence. And we just heard Demetra share that this is not the way to win. We forfeit our well-being, we forfeit our health, our relationships, our life balance, and often we forfeit the enjoyment of what we're doing that we wanted to do in the first place. And it just becomes overwhelming and burdensome. And as Demetra said, in our society, that's kind of what gets rewarded. We get noticed, we get complimented on how busy we are, and we take that as a great validation for what we're doing. But it is not a quality way of living. When we are busy taking action, and yes, business, life, households, families, everything needs action. But if we can make that aligned action and inspired action, then we will get a whole lot more momentum and leverage than if we are just busy, busy, busy. We're just on the hamster wheel and fitting more and more in and being very busy. I too, like Demetra, have been guilty of that and have worn myself to a frazzle more than once. But one of my key words is balance. And if we are taking inspired action, that actually gives us energy rather than depletes our energy. And it's also about recognizing our worth. So whether that's charging our worth or positioning ourselves such that we are not trying to be all things to all people. So when I work with people as business strategist or advisor, whether that's on a continuing basis or just often it's just for a short period of time with some strategic planning, like a project, and we get things framed up, and that gives people the infrastructure that they need for their business and life, because let's face it, they're not separate things. We have families, we have lives, we have health, we have business, and they are not silos that are not interchangeable. So I'm going to share a diagram which to me illustrates what needs to happen. We have this analogy of how many balls in the air or how many plates we have spinning. So if we have a look at this whiteboard that hopefully will be coming up.
Yep, it's there.
Thank you. Okay, so generally in business, we are taught that, I'm not getting my drawer to draw. Oh, I like that drawer. Okay, we are taught that our success or failure is acknowledged or recorded or recognized by what's at the bottom of that page, what's on our profit and loss statement, and what's on our bank account. And we tend to dismiss or diminish or completely forget about all the other things. What service, what joy we're bringing, what we like to do, how are we helping ourselves or others, where we're engaging other people, a million other things. My catchphrase is, who is the wealthy you? And by that, I mean that big holistic view of wealth being well-being, choices, opportunities, joy, kindness, being able to do what you want to do, surrounding yourself with uplifting experiences, whether that's just things like nice hand creams or enjoying the environment that you're in, going for a walk in the park or the garden, or I'm on a farm, so out in nature. There is so much more that is not measurable. So we have qualitative and quantitative measures of business, quote unquote, success. So we're all about creating a life of freedom and success in whatever that means to you. For me, I love what I do and I'm happy to be reasonably busy doing that, but to the degree that works for me, and that ebbs and flows depending on my wellness, family needs, and whatever else is going on. So we are not just about the numbers on the page, but that is the measurable thing, it's the tangible thing, and it's kind of the socially acceptable thing. If we talk about family or relationships or life balance in a business context, that's kind of, over there, that's the not business stuff. But it needs to be. So if we talk about, I just need more money and then everything's okay, well, yes, that helps. But money is the scorecard of what we've been doing. What we've been doing with our time, who our staff, our team, our outsourcers, that's an S, might be. What our message is, and our message is in our marketing and our mindset. And again, Demetra made clear how important this is, because if we're not in a great space, we're not able to offer much or anything of ourselves. We're not bringing something uplifting to others or ourselves. And we can't be congruent with our message if we're not in a great space. So the M is for marketing, as in the external message, but it's also for our mindset, as in what's our self-talk, what's our mindset, what are we telling ourselves about whatever's going on. And obviously the cost of our inputs. So how does that all fit together? So these are the sorts of things, generally, the marketing, the time, the staff, and the inputs that you'll talk about with an accountant, a financial planner, a business strategist, a bank manager. So they're kind of, out there. Everybody's got options to access that information. But equally as important, if you're thinking of these as balls in the air, are our own health. We can't do anything if we fall in a heap. Our relationships. So again, if we're not going through a great time in our relationships, we're not bringing our best self to play in the business space or in the wider space. Families, children, parents, dogs, neighbours, in-laws, everybody comes into that bucket. And life balance, as I said, last but certainly not least. So all of these things are the plates in the air. So we look at that and go, how the heck do I do that? One week I might have time to go for a walk, and then I don't get time for that for 6 months. One time I might get to go and visit my parents, and then I don't have time to do that for a while. So these are not things that we can tick once and say it's done. We're trying to bring a balance to that. But so important is that mindset. And before we can keep all of these balls in the air or even pretend to, we need to manage our own mindset and our own well-being. So if this was a little scale for anyone that understands energy, attitude, mood, mindset, vibration, frequency, call it whatever you like, whether you believe in quantum physics, whether you come from a faith and theology perspective, or just a more pragmatic, practical approach in the middle, they're all saying the same thing. They're just all painted different colours. We have these different levels of where we're at. So some days, if we're down the bottom, are the days that things go wrong. We can't find our keys, we spill our coffee, we trip over the dog, we get the red lights, just stuff doesn't flow. And the problem then is our mindset goes to that, and we tend to create more, because each of these, if we understand quantum physics, but even just on a practical level, each of these is like a playing field. So when people get on one playing field and start, beating the drum of that, I knew it was going to go wrong, and I had this terrible morning, and I'm listing off all the things, and I knew this wouldn't work, and now I've got this terrible person I have to deal with, and the kids are probably going to come home grumpy. We catastrophize it, and we bog ourselves into this without understanding that with a little change of narrative, we could bring ourselves up a level. And that's just a matter of saying, I'm so grateful for my car that got me there, my warm house. We live in a safe country. We have enough food to eat. Go broad if you need to. Don't make it about the thing that's maybe not working. But when we can come up a few levels, we don't have to be Pollyanna. We all get that stuff doesn't go perfectly all of the time, but we have way more control over which playing field we're on, and therefore what experiences come along and how we deal with them. That once we get to a little bit more balanced perspective here, then we can really shine with all of this. If this was a light bulb or a sunshine or a rainbow, we can really make that work without the efforting, without the actioning, if we just work on where are we to start with. That's when we get the green lights, the parking spaces, the right people, the stuff where we go, oh, I must get around to fixing the washing machine or getting this done or that done, and those things will come across our paths easily rather than actioning and efforting and forcing things. So in business, this is as applicable, 110% as applicable as in life or health or relationships or any other undertaking or aspect of our lives. But we don't see this taught and integrated in business coaching or business strategies or business discussions, because it's all about the numbers on the page, what we have to do, where's our return on investment, where's our margins, all that sort of stuff. We do all of that, but we can do it so much more easily and effortlessly and in alignment, where instead of hammering for solutions, looking at our problems, we just float through, we anticipate what questions we need answered, and those solutions tend to come much more easily. Now, I know that sounds like something a little bit out there and a little bit nonsensical if people have come from a purely business and pragmatic perspective, but it's a bit like gravity. Whether you believe in it or not, it applies. So let's work with that principle rather than fighting against it or just not using it to our best perspective. So that's why we talk about the magic wand, because sometimes this little frivolous sort of approach just encourages people to kind of get out of your own way, get out of your head, stop overthinking things, look at the solution that we might be seeking and allow rather than force. So that's probably a nice little succinct summary of the gist of what we do and how we do it. I'm happy to open up for any questions that people might have at this point in time.
That sounds fantastic. Dianna, I want to put in here, Shine at Business is your business name, and you help us make our business shine. That just came to me as I was listening to your presentation. Now, I know that you are always open to have questions put to you. So if we do have in our audience right now any questions, do pop up and ask it or pop it into the chat. I'll pick it up from there if you would like. Otherwise, definitely make sure that you visit Dianna's Expo booth inside the virtual expo. And it is easy to find every one of our exhibitor and their booths, all the details about them, the introduction or overview video that they have on their booths. Simply go into the expo. Yes, we have got a question. One moment, I will put you on in a moment. So go into the expo, simply look at the navigation bar at the bottom of each page and find the section or the icon that says exhibitor list, and from there you can go one by one by one, and from that page directly visit the exhibitors, and Shine at Business will be the one Dianna has presented there for you. You can see it. The icon is there, easy to find. Clem, you have got a question for Dianna, who has just finished our presentation. Go ahead and ask your question, Clem.
Yeah, that was great, Dianna. Just a question: does faith of any type play a part in mindset and in business?
My personal belief, Clem, is absolutely, but the definition of faith can vary very significantly. So I have studied and worked with people, and I do a lot of studying for all my own background interest, and I teach some of that stuff. Ancient wisdoms, all different philosophies, different religions, different ideologies and traditions and so forth. And there are lots of different ones, obviously, over the eons. Obviously, there's lots of different areas of faith in our contemporary world, and we have a lot of dogma that ancient philosophies and wisdoms have been kind of bent and twisted in some cases. So I do believe absolutely, but it needs to be the one or the collective that is congruent to any particular person for that to resonate.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Yes. Thanks.
And sometimes it can be faith in your source or universe or higher power or something. It doesn't necessarily have to have a label or a dogma or a doctrine for that to be faith.
Excellent, Diana. I like how you have explained that. I think we all can come to it from our own perspective, is what I heard you say there. Now, we had opened the floor for questions to Diana for those who have heard her presentation just now. If there's anything else, questions, if you don't want to ask it openly, you can pop it into the chat. If there's not something coming right now.
So maybe if I just wind up with, our booth has a lot of resources on there. We've got some videos on there, but YouTube will have a lot more. And I'm always happy to answer phone calls and questions. And for any of the participants or visitors for the Expo for this weekend, I'm more than happy to offer a strategic planning session for, instead of $500 for 2 hours, $300, which then gives people a checklist of a starting point that they can go and work with on with their own advisors.
Excellent. And is that marked on your Expo booth, Diana? People can find that. Our visitors and exhibitors can find
I will attend to that.
You will attend. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So let me just repeat this one more time. Hop into the Global Virtual Expo by logging into it. When you look at the navigation bar at the bottom of each page and you go to our exhibitor list, you will find all of our exhibitors, and you can click from that pop-up window directly through to visit each of our exhibitors. You will find Diana's booth under Shine at Business. You have it big on the screen there. Thank you so much for your presentation. That was Dianna Jacobsen, accountant, business and financial strategist, who has shared with us all the details about Shine at Business, how when we shine at business, we make the business shine. Thank you, Diana.
My pleasure. Thank you.